So I hope all of you can see the screen. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, From Invoicing to Payments, a Seamless Journey with SuperOps and Alternative Payments. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lakshmi. I'm from the product marketing team here at SuperOps. Right. Here's a quick look at our agenda. This is what we are broadly covering today. We'll start by discussing key talking points around MSP profitability, followed by a deep dive into the merits of a unified PSA-RMM platform. We'll walk you through the alternative payments, simplified and flexible payment options, showcasing how you can supercharge your cash flow. We'll also have a live integration demo and explore the key benefits of this partnership. And finally, a dedicated Q&A session where you can get all your questions answered. So the chat is live. You can go ahead and ask your questions in the chat. We have folks here monitoring the chat. So if you have any doubts, any queries, please go ahead and post your questions there. We also have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Right? The speakers of today's session. We have Akhilesh, who is a seasoned product management professional with over 9 years of experience building B2B, AI, and SaaS products. Hi, Akhi. And Baxter. Baxter Lanius is the founder and CEO of Alternative Payments, a cutting-edge B2B payments platform purpose-built for MSPs. Hi, Baxter.
Wow.
Aki, I'll hand over the session to you while we jump into the first question. Over to you, Aki.
Got it. Thanks, Lakshmi, and hello all. Really happy to be here and show you a lot of exciting new things that we have built, one in SuperOps and also with the partnership of Alternative Payments, how we are getting the job done for MSPs to run a business that is always striving for growth and is actually growing as well. So that was in fact our vision, and the reason why I've added this question is one of the question many MSPs that I spoke to are SuperOps customers or people trying to switch PSAs, running their businesses. And once the MSP owner on a daily basis, when they start their business, of course, they are working on firefighting every day and they are working in the business. And the moment an MSP owner starts thinking about growth, how to grow, what should I do next to grow and and maybe go to a particular milestone, etc. And they start to lift their head up and start working on the business. One of the fundamental questions that they start asking is, do I have clear visibility into how services are delivered, how they are billed? How does it even impact my bottom line for my growth? And this is one of the key problems that we understood that we have to enable MSPs with, because what happens when an MSP owner scales a business is they start optimizing for their clients' needs. And of course, our clients' happiness is very important. They want to keep their clients' cost super predictable on how they are charging their clients. But do they have very clear understanding of for how much they are charging their clients? How are these services delivered, billed, and how does it actually impact their business is one of the huge questions that starts coming up when they start working on the business. And that's one of the things I wanted to see if everybody resonates with, and we wanted to tackle that problem head on. And maybe I'll store the sneak peek of the product later on how we have tackled this. But do give me a thumbs up or any thoughts on the chat as well if this is something that you're also battling as an equal MSP owner, saying that, well, yes, I know my business is running, but do I have all these details? And Lakshmi, can you also go to the next question because that's kind of tied to this?
Yeah.
And while you do that, fine. If I have to do that, then the next question that starts happening to MSPs is, are my contracts and billing processes flexible and automated enough so that I'm not first leaving revenue on the table? Two, I am tracking all my services. And three, ensuring that I have the necessary insights across the services delivered, what I have built, not revealing revenue on the table versus how it is impacting my bottom line. So these are all the common questions that we got from MSPs whenever, let's say, when I met asking, saying that, yes, do you have your PSA? Do you have a profitability report? And most of the MSPs nodded saying yes. But when we ask these questions on how actionable those reports are and how you are taking decisions for growth on a daily basis, then we realized that there was a huge gap. But however, what we also realized is this gap is the most crucial thing to solve for if we have to enable every MSP owner to take decisions for growth on how they have to grow their business. So that's why I added these two single, let's say, questions particularly to discuss about. And the reason why I leave this segue at this moment is while we are establishing this as a problem that's definitely there for every MSP that is looking to grow, we will definitely show you how we have tackled the problem head on. If you agree with all these points, and if you have anything else more on what's on your mind when you think of growth, do leave it on the chat and we will show you how we have tackled that problem as well head on.
Aki, while you're on that, an extension of that, I'd like to launch a poll that we had made for our viewers. Folks, this poll is going to be on for a couple of seconds. If you guys can go ahead and answer, I'll leave it on for a few seconds.
The other thing that I think is interesting to mention here, Aki and Lakshmi, is a lot of when you're preparing for growth, you're typically thinking about the technological preparation.
That's correct.
And you're thinking about your clients. And a lot of MSPs do a really, really good job on the technological capabilities, the client-facing work that's required to then productize and scale those operations. And what happens then is you spend 90% of your time in that respect of the business, and you start to spend less time in billing and finance and accounting and sales and marketing potentially. And so the really important part I think about this contracts and billing is that, as you go from 5 invoices a month to 10 invoices a month to 20 invoices a month, whether you have a PSA or not, you need to start automating it, and you need to start to graduate into a more automated process. And you need to think hopefully a year or two in advance in terms of, well, what if you now have 100 invoices? Am I building the system and the business that can support where I am today, 5 invoices, 10 invoices, 15 invoices, to 100 invoices? And are those invoices being automatically created? And are those invoices being hopefully automatically paid for from your clients? And are you streamlining that kind of entire workflow, which then allows you to grow a little bit more quickly and have the systems in place to streamline that growth, in year 1 or year 2. So totally, spot on and obviously in line with, how both of us think about the world.
That's awesome. And then definitely I'll agree to that, Baxter. And the earliest they actually get this sorted, it's better for the business down the line, because I have met a lot of MSPs even beyond, let's say, 3 million revenue. Then they start thinking about all of this. Actually starting from scratch at that point becomes a huge lift and shift. And that adds considerable amount of energy to get things fixed at that point. And definitely, that's a great point, Baxter. Yeah.
I think also Gabriel had an interesting question here around capturing work performed for clients. Seems like all systems are set up to depend on the technology to enter the info after the fact. What tools are available to mitigate this weak link? I'm happy to send my thoughts, but Aki, why don't you go first?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I feel that's a great question on especially the moment you start building your service offerings, because of course you have to provide an amazing competitive service offering. The market's really competitive and at a great price point and a predictable price point. All that starts happening when you start selling all these services to your clients. Definitely, Gabriel is right about the point that seems like all systems are set up in making sure that you have to manually manage all this, if I'm getting that right. For example, let's say I decide to, of course, charge my customers per, let's say, workstation, and because I want to ensure that there is a predictable cost for my customer. But of course, I'm going to, as part of the bundle, I'm going to include remote support. That's going to be labor. I'm going to include Microsoft 365, but that's going to be a vendor who's going to tell me how many Microsoft 365 is consumed, because it's given at a user level, while I'm giving a threat locker at a asset level. I'm having a backup that's just one blanket plan, 100 TB plan for a client. All of this starts happening, but however, I'm just charging my client because I have to give a predictable revenue of just per workstation. And currently, the tools are in such a way that all systems are set up in fact, in a way where if I have to track all this, it has to be manually set up, manually fed in all these data, so that I can understand these insights. And I think, Gabriel, if I got your question right, if that is your weak link, but I'm pretty sure many MSPs that we have spoken to is weak link as well. And I'll definitely show, when we are showing SuperOps demo, one of the solutions that we have built to solve for this. But I definitely agree with you on that point, Gabriel.
The other thing I think that's important to note here is that it's really important to productize your offering, right? And standardize your offering. So if I go out and let's say my target ICP are restaurants in Southern California. I build a relationship with a restaurant and I go to them and I say, hey, this is my offering. This is what I'm able to provide. That productization then allows you to automate a lot of these things after the fact. Now, what sometimes occurs, obviously, is the restaurant loves your service, but then they ask for a workstation, or they ask for a point of sale system, or they ask for these other nuts and bolts. Those are what I would consider to be unstandard, right, from your prototypical offering. And you need to be hesitant to think about, well, by offering these additional add-ons, what is then the work hours that's required to support this, both from the tactical, technical implementation, but then also from the billing, invoicing, and preparation. A lot of businesses on the MSP side have transformed into this standardization over and over and over again, where some of them will say, well, we don't offer point of sale, so you should go talk to my friend Joe. As more interested in the labor portion of ongoing maintenance, troubleshooting. So, typically on the labor side, people have basically like blocks of hours or help desk that they sell and that roll over on a monthly basis. So you're not actually billing for, every hour, every 30 minutes. You're purchasing blocks, which are standardized, which are set up in SuperOps or set up in another PSA or set up in QuickBooks Online, which allows you, again, to automate the flow so that it's not always after the fact of billing. But it's, every company is a little bit different. I think Aki and I are talking a little bit, broad brushstrokes and summary form of, the kind of, problem at hand, probably.
Yeah, but I'll definitely use this as a segue, because when I'm showing SuperOps, the product in itself and how the integration works, etc., I'll definitely touch on the labor portion of how you will be able to track easily, and it need not be after the fact tracking, and also how we have automated this so that all the decisions that you're taking based on that, like Baxter said, if you added another line item, is it impacting your business or not? How we have solved for that problem, I'm going to take that. I'm going to park that for now, but definitely I'm going to show the solution to you. And Blaine also mentioned about moving to very, let's say, a value-based service rather than just a time-based service. But while doing that as well, we should also be cognizant that the MSPs are services-based business, but tracking time is going to be super important, because that's one of your huge line item on your COGS. And that also helps you make your decisions as well. We are going to discuss all of this. But these are all great segues for what we are going to discuss today. And I'm excited about all the questions coming in.
Baxter, do you want to move to the next slide? Can I move to the next one? I believe this was a point.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, this was a point that you wanted to throw light on from your point of view.
Yeah, no, so, I think this is all tied together, right? The billing, sorry, go back to how long does it take? The billing process and the invoicing process and the automation all flows downstream. And what this partnership with SuperOps and Alternative Payments is looking to create and looking to build, and what I, as the founder of Alternative Payments, try to do every single day, is figure out how to automate that workflow. So SuperOps does a fantastic job of creating that invoice, automating the bill of goods, automating the product library, the services that you offer. That invoice gets synced into Alternative Payments, which then hopefully has a client payment method on file, which allows us to auto pay that. And that is an automated process. If that's done effectively, we can get MSPs paid in 0 days. But the key question here is, what is kind of like the status quo of where MSPs fall today, which is enlightening of, how long does it take today without a fully automated system, fully automated flow for MSPs to get paid? So Lakshmi, you want to change to the next slide? So, this is based off all our data. We have a few $1 billion of MSP spend on the platform. And on average, MSPs are getting paid in 20 days after the due date, and their invoices are average net 16. So that means that, 36 days after an invoice is created, you are getting paid. Now, that's pretty standard in the SMB market. That's not, unique to MSPs. That's not different than, HVAC companies, landscaping, contractors, et cetera. But the key opportunity really is, how do we get you paid faster, right? And how do we automate the workflow so that clients are not sending checks? They're not, waiting to mail a check. They're not waiting to wire payment at a, outside a date. And so how do we help you automate that workflow and ensure you're getting paid? Because, time is money, obviously, but also delay in payment is a loss of capital that can be reinvested into your business. And that's really how, the Alternative Payments integration and product comes together with what the SuperOps offering is, which we're obviously excited to show you later.
Right. So let's move on. Folks, we have a chat going on right now. You can, I can see there are a lot of questions coming in. And this is awesome, actually. We have quite a few questions coming in. So I'll move on to the next part of the webinar. This is an intro to SuperOps as a company. Before we get into the platform overview, Aki will be doing the platform overview and taking us through SuperOps as a platform. I'd like to give a quick intro to SuperOps. Just to give a little bit of context to all the new folks on the session in terms of who we are, what we do, and what we want to achieve. To start off, let's look at the MSP software landscape as a whole. A majority of it is still stuck in the past. The lack of innovation over the years means that there's a lot of pains that MSPs have to deal with. Slow, clunky tools with dated interfaces that still require a lot of manual effort and that break frequently. That's what we want to change. SuperOps wants to help MSPs break away from the current landscape by replacing their legacy tools with a modern, AI-driven, unified platform. In a nutshell, SuperOps is a truly unified PSA-RMM platform that's thoughtfully designed to make the modern MSP's day. It has all the major tools you need, from ticketing to project management to invoicing to IT documentation, from chat and scheduling to network monitoring on a single pane of glass, so that you can drive your everyday operations from one place. We're also future ready with AI and automation woven into the fabric of our platform. through features like intelligent alerting, AI summarization, automated alerts, and a lot more. Right. Aki, over to you now. Aki will be taking us through the platform. I will stop sharing my screen at this point, and Aki, over to you.
While I'm going to start doing that immediately, one of the best things that I just posted on chat as well. I'm loving the discussion that's already happening on chat about tracking work, and how do we track work, and how do we manage all of that, and how we have made it easy, etc. So and what I'm going to show is what I have actually shared in chat itself, is how we have built our best-in-class revenue platform in SuperOps, which takes care of both new contracts that you might see for the first time. If you're already even a SuperOps user, this is like a sneak peek, because we're yet to globally launch this. And also our best-in-class time tracking, which actually automates a lot of process where you don't need to sit and worry about, is this time included in the contract? Is it invoiced? All of that is completely automated, and that's exactly what we are going to see. So I'm already loving the discussions on the chat. So to quickly start with SuperOps in the interest of time as well, like Baxter mentioned, it is very important as a first step is to productize all your offerings. It can be, let's say, your services that you're providing, like labor, maintenance, what we discussed on chat, that you track on an hourly basis, or even things like email hosting, broadband, anything that it's a service which is not like a tangible item, but you just provide it based on some quantity. Or let's say products, even if you're maintaining inventories or not, or either it's a non-inventory and inventory items and anything tangible, you will of course have these as products, which is a little basic if you've already set it up with your bookkeeping solution, which should be the fundamental thing that you would do. All of it will be fetch. And with SuperOps, what you will also be able to do is create packages out of these products and services, right? And for example, just like how you mentioned, currently we discussed in the chat about how, let's say you are offering all of these as a package or a bundle, like at a retainer, or it can be, you can simply create a plan saying that this particular plan includes remote support, which is my labor, and all these products and services. And I'm just going to give this as, let's say, a goal plan at $200 per workstation for a client or so. So how you would be able to create that is very straightforward. How you can, let's say, package products and services together, either into a bundle, or let's say you can even keep the pack of how much they use under this with a block of hours or block of money as well. And once you have this set up in SuperOps, and once you do this properly, what you could choose to do is go to our contracting engine, which is going to help you. And this is one of the most flexible contracting engine we have built, which is going to help you build any kind of services that you have and service delivery that you are doing for your clients. And as you can see, whenever you're providing your recurring service contracts, which includes a lot of things, just like how in one of the members in the chat was mentioning, we just charge a value-based per workstation, but and we moved away from, let's say, just charging for like a time and material kind of a work type. And once you move to this model, that's how you set up your recurring service contracts. And of course, sometimes your contract need not include everything. Let's say it can be having something like a backup, or let's say AV, and those are all based on usages. And maybe you want to bill it as a separate line item, but it's just not included in your contract. Or for all your one-time work, for your projects, you have one-time contracts. And of course, if you don't have all of this with your client and what you have is just a time and material engagement, you can also set up how do you want to engage with this particular client when they raise a ticket with you, right? So imagine this is like your revenue automation engine, your PSA. And why this is super crucial is once you set this right, every other process that we were discussing on chat is automated for the technician. For example, let's say I go ahead and say that I'm going to give this goal plan for, let's say, $200 per seat, and it can be based on, let's say, build for maybe I'll start creating a new contract in itself so we can see how that is actually built in itself. So I'm going to provide this goal plan, and I can also see this is based on, let's say, all workstations or all Windows workstations or all users, etc. So I can define what that is. And once I do that, the best part with this particular contract is two things. SuperOps automatically shows what's included in the contract and what are all their costs. And the way we track all of this is not after the fact of billing and you go into your, let's say, bookkeeping solution, pick out what was billed, how many times as part of the bundle, and identify your true cost. You don't need to do all of that. Now, everything is kind of automated in SuperOps, where you would be able to clearly see saying, okay, this particular plan includes all these items, which includes remote support. Remote support is like labor. That's why you don't have a cost, because that's calculated based on your technician's burden rate, as in when you log time. I'm going to get to that a little later on how we have made time tracking super easy. But since you mentioned it's included in the contract, your technicians need not worry while logging time for this particular client. Should this be billable? Should this be invoiceable? Should this be non-billable? All those questions are taken away. Your technicians just have to log time from wherever they are. And if it's included, it will be automatically calculated only for cost and not really billed for the customer. So you don't need to even manage that manually, saying that, oh yeah, a technician has logged 2 hours in remote support, but it's included in the contract. Now I should not invoice it. All of that is automated in SuperOps because you're clearly mentioning what's included in the contract, right? And one of the most unique things in SuperOps that we have launched compared to all of the PSAs out there is how you get to define how these services are delivered. While this contract has remote support, threat locker, MS365, all of it, what we have introduced is a concept called delivery map, where you are exactly telling how is the service delivered to this client. Like backup is one single plan at, let's say, a client level. Every site gets a public static IP. All the requesters get a laptop on a Microsoft 365. However, the backup is only for the VIP users. Domotes is only for the network devices, and workstations has threat locker, Huntress, and so on, right? So you get to build this map and clearly mention what's delivered where and how are we delivering service to the client, even though you are charging one line item on an invoice, which is gold plan or my platinum package, etc. You get to define this. Now, what we do is, why I said it's completely automated and best in class, is when we go ahead and build this customer for gold plan, I clearly know how many threat locker did they use versus backup did they use. They didn't even use backup, but how many Huntress did they use versus Microsoft 365 that they used, etc. Right? So all of this is clearly there in SuperOps. Since you have set it up, it's completely automated. So month on month, we automatically calculate what's like the true cost of service delivery for this contract versus the revenue that you're getting. And all of this is completely automated. Now, gone are the days where you're going to take exports after export from your bookkeeping solution to actually figure out the true cost of service delivery that's happening in your MSP. So that's what we have done. And also what we have ensured is one of the main aspects of this discussion was tracking time. So now we have ensured that we've launched an application for every contract. So I can say, hey, whenever a ticket is coming in, so let's say as long as Windows Workstation is associated to a ticket, or I can even say if the ticket type is, let's say, incident, then this contract should be applied. The moment this contract is applied to a ticket, what SLA should be charged, and maybe remote support is included, but on-site support is not included, but I have to give it at a discount, so I can mention that. So all of that is completely automated. So what happens is the moment a ticket comes in inside SuperOps, a contract based on your condition is automatically, let's say, associated. Maybe I can show a sample ticket. And for your technician, what we have done is no worry about, let's say, should I log this as billable, non-billable? Is it invoiced or not? Should I log this time or not? Should I log this product or not? All those decisions are completely taken away from a technician. If I'm a technician, I have to log labor. I can just quickly go ahead and say I worked 1 hour about it. But if it's invoiced, if it's just a cost for delivering this service, all of that is automated using our contracting engine in itself. So that's how we have developed a very unique engine to ensure that everything is automated and technicians, all they think about is just doing their work. That's part one. And part two is we also discussed about the friction in tracking time itself. Still I have to track all of this. Absolutely, we totally understand. That's why we launched Smart Tracker, which is like our best-in-class time tracking solution, where let's say I'm working on this ticket. How often as a technician you are pulled away from this, you are asked to do something else because there's a high priority alert. Immediately from wherever I am, I can just, without even a ticket saying that some alert has thrown up, I just have to go ahead and start tracking time. And I can just go ahead and start doing that and associate the time later as well to a ticket. We have launched mobile widgets, Chrome extensions. So even if you're doing some, let's say, research in, let's say, Google or ChatGPT nowadays, you can still track those time using Chrome extensions saying that I'm actually working for this client. So that's how we have made time tracking only one click away, friction free. And once I'm back, all I have to do is come to my timesheets and go ahead and log my time, saying that, okay, these are all the time. I'm just going to log it and it's all looking fine. And I can just go ahead and submit it from my timesheets. And that's about it. And how it is built, what happens from an invoicing standpoint, everything is automated by the contracting engine as well. So that is how we have built SuperOps. And since we have built how a customer is charged completely in contracts, all of this is beautifully compiled together, and SuperOps automatically creates a billing queue saying that, hey, these are all the things that are ready to be billed for this client. This will not include your inclusion. This will not include all the hidden cost that's gone in. Only the line items that have to be there in the invoice is automatically created and kept ready so you can review anytime. And whenever it is time to create the invoice, you can even have a schedule running so the invoice immediately gets generated. So if you can see, apart from just one click in time tracking, that too from wherever you are, we have literally automated the cost for delivering a service and how it is tracked completely end to end in SuperOps. And this is one of our huge unique selling points at the moment with larger MSPs as well, where they are embracing this, where they get clearly getting how can I take decisions for growth. Now, when you see into your reporting on client profitability, labor revenue report, how much profit are you generating against a client and which client to hire more of? Should I renegotiate a contract with a particular client? What's the kind of profit I'm making based on the burn rate of a particular technician? All of that is super accurate, only in the most accurate profitability tracker, which is SuperOps at the moment. So that's what we envision to do in 2024. And we said with all this, now we are able to make sure that we track all the cost for delivering service and not leave, let's say, revenue on the table, and have an automated system to create the most accurate invoices as possible with all the necessary line items. But then what happened was all this is great, but one of the questions that we had is the job done? That's when we realized not really, because raising invoices and getting all these insights automatically, yes, is great, takes a lot of payload on you, but the job is done when you get paid. And that's exactly what we loved about alternative payments, where we didn't want to do the heavy lifting there because alternative payments, best in class, they're already doing that. So we said, hey, let's partner with alternative payments. SuperOps will help you track all your cost and create automated invoices without leaving money on the table, and also will give you all the reports for you to make all the decisions for growth. But when it's time for you to complete the job of getting paid and the cash flow hitting the business, we wanted to partner with alternative payments. And maybe I'd leave that as a segue for Baxter to take it from here and talk about how alternative payments, after the invoice generated, helps the MSP get paid and drives on overall growth for the business as well.
It's super impressive what you guys have built. The contracting piece and the automation piece is not easy, and it's extremely clean and easy to use, and flows really, really nicely. So that's great to hear. I think Jamie had a question of when is that version going live?
Yeah, absolutely. It's already open for early access, so you can reach out to anybody in SuperOps and we'll actually enable it for your accounts. It's already live for close to 100 plus customers with us with great feedback. And we are planning to do an overall launch, in maybe a couple of weeks or a month's time. And currently, if you want access to this, reach out to us and we'll be able to enable this as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, so as Aki was mentioning, right, there's the contracting process, there's the invoicing process, which, PSAs like SuperOps do a really, really fantastic job of managing costs, managing software, managing subscriptions, managing invoices, managing kind of customer base, time tracking, etc. Where alternative payments really fits in is post the invoicing process. So our solution, I started the company 4 years ago to streamline the invoicing, billing, and payments workflow. Once an invoice is set up within the PSA, it syncs into alternative payments. Based on all of the fields within the invoice, you have the ability to turn on different auto pay capabilities, whether it's tied to the subscription, whether it's tied to the contract, whether it's tied to the site. You have a lot of flexibility. You can manage your accounts receivable very, very closely within alternative payments. You can obviously get paid and automate a lot of the workflows, whether it's sending reminders and following up based off the creation date of the invoice, the due date, etc. And then we also have built a beautiful end client facing portal, which allows your clients to self-serve on the billing and payments workflow. Self-service is really, really important, right? Because you don't want your clients emailing you, hey, Aki, can you please send me the PDF of the bill? Hey, I'd like to pay with this credit card, not this wire. I'd like to pay with this ACH. I'd like to pay with this instrument, not that. Please opt into autopay. Again, it allows them to really, really easily self-serve. And then we reconcile everything within SuperOps. We reconcile within QBO, QBD, Xero, accounting, ERP solutions. We have basically 100% coverage on that universe. So what I'd love to show you today is I'll show you kind of the output within SuperOps. I'll click over to the alternative payments MSP experience. We'll look at the end client experience, paying an invoice, and the reconciliation. And then we'll open up for Q&A at the end here. So feel free to jump in on the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions as I go, and excited to show you guys. So if you guys can see my screen here, this is obviously the kind of SuperOps dashboard and the invoicing framework. These invoices, we have a real-time sync with SuperOps. So these invoices all sync in real time. It should all be a one-for-one display of what's outstanding, what's overdue, what's been paid. Each of these customers that live in SuperOps then have a beautiful profile of what's outstanding, right? How many invoices are outstanding? How many payments have been made? Who are the users on the account? Do they have a credit card on file? Do they have an address and any other details? Are they enabled for auto pay? Are they excluded from auto pay? And then, you can look at their payments. You can look at their invoices. You can look at if they've received any emails. You can also double click into the reporting capabilities for the specific company. To Joe's question, we integrate with SuperOps. We also integrate with QBO. We should talk about that integration specifically. My perspective would be the best way is just to integrate SuperOps with alternative payments. And then SuperOps takes care of the QBO side of the house. But we should talk about your setup specifically and whether we need to support a dual integration, which we could also do. So we could integrate with SuperOps and QBO, depending on the way in which the data flows. But going back to our customer here, Dunder Mifflin. So again, you have all of this data on your customer. How quickly are they paying you? What's automated? What's not? Is it paid via check? Is it paid via ACH and online or not? These analytics just allow you to run a better business, right? And make better decisions as it relates to Mr. Dunder Mifflin here. We also overlay a ton of automations and insights to our solution. So, you come in here, you can control email notifications. These are email notifications in summary format that you can send to a client in a fully customizable template. You can customize these by day of the month, by week. You can create recurring notifications if they have invoices that are outstanding. So here's a good example of, hey, Joe, you have 3 invoices outstanding for $4,500. Please obviously log in and pay. You can do that at the invoice level as well. So, you can send them on the due date, after the due date. You can send multiple invoices, right? And multiple reminders tied to specific customers. So if you have high-risk customers that you want to follow up with more frequently than others, you can do that. And then you can also customize these full templates. So this is the template that we provide off the shelf. but all of this is customizable depending on how you want to communicate with your clients, and also how you obviously want to brand the specific experience. We will also be able to send off one-off emails. So if you want to notify them that you're moving payment processors, or notify them of a new subscription that you're coming out with that you want to cross-sell, that's also an option. Another big component of our solution is autopay. So you can set up customer-specific autopay rules. Hey, I want another Client Corp or Goodman Associates or Dunder Mifflin to be on autopay. And here are the balances, and here are the invoices outstanding, and here are their average days. You can set it up on a global basis, so all of your customers. And then we have this really cool feature called tags, which allow you to tag your clients by whether they have a payment method on file, whether they're slow payers, whether they're fast payers, whether they're based in specific geographies, whether they pay by check, and control and adjust accordingly. Again, that gives you full control of autopay to automate this entire workflow. That's very, very cool. It's super detailed and allows you to ultimately get paid faster. I'll hit on one other kind of core feature, or a couple of other core features, and then we can open it up for questions. But one of the core opportunities for us is around customization and controlling payment methods and passing credit card fees. So, we believe that MSPs have a huge opportunity in the market to drive online payments, but also push ACH payments, because ACH payments are free relative to credit cards. Credit cards are hugely expensive, right? At average about 3% fee. You have the ability to pass that fee on to your clients and then take ACH payments if your client does not want to pay the fee. I'll walk you through that in the end client experience in a little bit. But again, you have a lot of controls. We'll talk about a financing solution, but you can just toggle off the experience by customer that you want, whether you want to offer ACH, whether you want to offer credit card, whether you want to pass credit card fees, whether you don't want to, whether you want to exclude certain customers who are kind of fickle and challenging around credit card fees. So, a lot of this customization is all built in and allows you to really not only automate the workflow, but almost just as important, save you time and save you money in terms of payment processing. There's a bunch of other kind of components. Joe in the chat mentioned integrations with PSAs as well as accounting software. So that's something that we offer. We can integrate directly with SuperOps. We can also integrate with QuickBooks Online, with QuickBooks Desktop, with DataGate on the telecom billing side, if any of you guys have a telecom solutions provider. So a lot of different functionality to, again, make sure that everything is streamlined and flowing appropriately so that this entire finance function, right, of invoicing, billing, and payments is really taken care of. I'm going to jump to the end client experience because I think this is another kind of core piece of our product that everybody should be pretty excited about. So, this is the end client experience. This is set up as, I've created one for SuperOps, but this would be for an MSP, right? So this would be for your business, pay.msp.com, pay.superops.com. And this becomes then a one-for-one match of SuperOps and what the invoices are outstanding, and allows those clients to fully self-serve. So they can come in here, they can see what invoices are outstanding. They can see what invoices have been paid since inception. They can also download payment receipts. So, if they want to get their receipt, they can't find it, they come in here. They can also download the invoice specifically, right? Come in here and opt in or opt out. They can manage all of their payment methods. So credit cards, bank accounts. Let's say a credit card expires, we actually update the expiration date tied to the card network. So, you don't need to do that manually anymore. Let's say they want to pay via bank account versus credit card. They come in here, they just add a bank account to their account. Really, really easy to use. Fully branded your business, so it looks like you built this yourself and it's just an extension of your brand. They can come in here and opt into auto pay. They can add different team members or third-party accountants, to the workflow, which again gives them that control, saves you time from answering their questions, and streamlines their process. There are a few ways to log into alternative payments. So we set up a subdomain, which is attached to your domain, obviously. So, I'll just use your name because I'm not familiar with your MSP, but pay.gabriel.com. That would be one way to log in. They can also log in through the email notifications that we send out. So if invoices are outstanding or due, you can set up those cadences, and so they can log in there. And then we're also working with SuperOps where they can log in directly from the self-serve portal within SuperOps as well. When they go to pay an invoice, again, it's super easy, right? So the payment method's already on file. They can just pay that invoice, confirm payment, invoice is paid. Here it's processing. They have a report and repository, or we'll go to another invoice. And let's say they want to schedule a payment for a future date. You can turn this on and off. Let's say they want to pay the invoice partially. You can turn this on and off. But again, giving your clients the flexibility is what's important. You can come in here and say, hey, I want to actually pay via bank account as opposed to that credit card. All the fees are appropriately disclosed from a regulatory perspective, and they can check out very quickly. The other unique component of our product and where we fit into the landscape is we have a financing solution. So if they say, hey, I don't want to pay via bank account, I don't want to pay via credit card, I'd rather pay over 150 days, they can opt into a payment plan tied to that invoice. You would get paid 100% of those funds up front the next day, and then the client would pay according to this payment plan. We underwrite the transaction, we hold all the risk, and if the client doesn't pay us, there's no incremental liability to your business. For ACH and credit card payments, we pay you out in 3 business days, so what's called T+3. You have the ability to accelerate those payments to T+1, which would be next day, or T+2 would be 2 business days for a fee. But our standard is T+3. So if a payment occurs on Monday, you'd get paid out on Thursday for both ACH and credit card transactions. Now, the beauty of all of these transactions and all these payments, right, is that when a payment is made, whether it's a partial payment or a full payment, right, so you can see clearly the remaining balance, everything is then integrated one for one with SuperOps, which is also integrated with QBO. What does that mean? That means that your AR balance in QBO will match your AR balance in SuperOps, which matches your AR balance in alternative payments, which then streamlines your monthly close process from an accounting perspective. So it should help that process and streamline that, quote to cash, billing, invoicing, and payments plus reconciliation. From a fee perspective or a cost of alternative payments, there are 2 components. So there's a subscription fee, which is on our website, $199 a month for up to $50,000 of processing. That includes free ACH. So we do not charge per ACH. And then what we recommend is clients pass the credit card fee onto their end clients. And so all you would see is a bill for $199 a month for up to $50,000 of processing, $499 a month for up to $100,000 of processing. Again, free ACH. You can pass the credit card fees to your clients. We try to keep the pricing really, really simple and streamlined. The majority of payment processing platforms create very convoluted pricing. It's really hard to track how much you're paying, what you're paying for. With us, you'll really only see one bill, one solution, or one experience. We're only in the US today. We're expanding into Canada in late Q2. And then we'll also be expanding into the UK in Q3, and very excited to kind of scale globally. Obviously SuperOps has a big client base in the UK and Canada and the US, and so that will align appropriately. It's been awesome. Thank you for your time. The QB QuickBooks processing monthly fee, they don't have a monthly fee. Where they make their money is they charge very, very high credit card and ACH fees. So I think the ACH fees for QuickBooks Online is 1% of the transaction, I think up to $20 or up to $30. So if you process one $3,000 transaction, they're going to charge you $30 for that transaction. If you obviously process 10, you're already paying $300 for ACH versus our free ACH for this monthly fee. But listen, it's been awesome. It's been a pleasure. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them and talk about it. There's payment processing is one of those things. It's like a little bit of the wild, wild west, I hate to say. And there are two things. One is, how is it automated with your current process and integrated into your current process? If you're invoicing out of QBO, if you're invoicing out of SuperOps, and then the second is really the cost associated with it, right? So are you, not getting extorted? Are you paying fair prices? And then are you able to drive your clients to pay online? And that's really one of the big critical components that we see. And I think even SuperOps saw it when they initially integrated with Stripe, because they obviously also have a Stripe offering, is, the clients who use Stripe on the SuperOps end client portal is a very, very small percentage. And so because we focus on payments, because we focus on this billing, invoicing, and payments workflow, we're able to drive a lot of adoption on the payment side to help you and your clients pay online, to automate that reconciliation process and streamline that reconciliation process, which is why like a third-party payments platform like ours even exists in the market. So if you have any more questions, happy to answer them, but really appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. Wonderful session. Thank you, Baxter. Thank you, Aki. Folks, please feel free to reach out to the support teams at Alternative and at SuperOps if you have any more queries. Maybe I'll give it another 2 minutes. Do we have any more questions coming in? Thank you, Michael.
Perfect. And also there's a question on enabling the new contracts. You can reach out to SuperOps support and someone will help you with that. No worries at all. We'll be happy to.
Right. Thank you, Baxter. Thank you, Aki.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
you to
everyone who's joined us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.